Good morning. Today we're going to work on equation analysis, and there's usually a question, no more than one question on a test, but if you know a couple of things about it, it's pretty easy. So let's start with test 1, section 3. We're going to do numbers 4 and 6. Okay, these are always kind of word problems. Some are wordier than others. This one's a little wordy. So it says, Kathy is a repair technician for a phone company. Each week, she receives a batch of phones that need repairs. The number of phones that she has left to fix at the end of each day can be estimated with the equation, and I will write P equals 108 minus 23D, where P is the number of phones left. Okay, so I'm going to write that in. We're going to write number left, and D is the number of days she's worked. Okay, so this is exactly what you should be writing down on your page. Right? As you go through these problems, you want to be labeling your stuff so you don't have to go back and read the whole big paragraph, right? You just have a short notation on your page in front of you. Okay, and the question is, what is the meaning of the value 108? Okay, now here's the thing. We always have two elements of an equation in these equation analysis questions. We have the thing that is attached, it's the number attached to a variable, and then we have the standalone number. And they serve, obviously, different functions. So the standalone number is what we're interested in this equation. The 108 isn't attached to anything. So that means it is usually a starting point. It could mean a few things depending on the context of the question. If it's money, it could be a kind of a flat fee that is charged. It's not related to maybe how many hours you're renting a car or something like that. Or it just could be usually a starting point. It's usually one of these two. So if it's a starting point and they want to know what 108 is, we can just look at the answers. A says, let me write these down so we can cross them out as we go. A says Kathy will complete the repairs within 108 days, but that is not really a starting point. Let's look at something else. Kathy starts, I like that. Kathy starts each week with 108 phones to fix. That sounds like a starting point. Let's keep reading though. Kathy repairs phones at a rate of 108 per hour? No, that's not a starting point. And then D basically is the same thing, except instead of 108 per hour, it's 108 per day. B is definitely our answer. It's the one that is the only one that is a starting point. Now, just so you know, the 23D is going to be, or the 23, or should I say in general, the number that is attached to a letter or variable is the amount by which something changes, in this case, per day. Okay, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's flip the page and go over to number 6. Now, I think I can have enough room on this page to work. So, number 6, they give us this equation. H equals 3A plus 28.6. And we say a pediatrician uses the model above to estimate the height H. So H is height. And I always like to write it down in inches of a boy in terms of the boy's age, A, in years. All right. Between the ages of 2 and 5. Based on the model, what is the estimated increase in inches of a boy's height each year? So now, instead of asking us, like in this previous question, they said, what is 108? They just went into the equation and asked us for a particular element. Here they're asking us to determine, basically, which element is the increase. Is it going to be the 3 or is it going to be the 28.6? Well, based on what I told you before, the standalone number, or this number, is the starting point. Now, in this case, we're talking about the height of a boy. So 28.6 is going to be the height or the initial height of the boy. And the 3, I said, the number that is attached to the variable, I think I'll write that down. The number I'm going to write it up here. The number that's attached to a variable is the amount by which it changes, right? So the it is whatever it is in the problem. In this case, it's the age, right? And so it's saying the question is, what is the estimated increase in height per year or per age? And that is precisely what the 3 is. Our answer is 3. Okay. Now, I'm going to clear this off and let's go to the next test. And that's going to be test 2, section 3, number 3. And this is a nice little word problem. It says a landscaping company estimates the price of a job in dollars using the expression 60 plus 12 NH, where N is the number of landscapers. So this is number, I'm just going to write workers because it's shorter than landscapers. And H is the total number of hours the job will take. Okay, so total number of hours using N landscapers. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the number 12? So now we're going back to analyzing a particular element of this expression. Okay, now remember, the 60 is the standalone number, which probably means there's and remember, this expression is the price, the P, or the total price of the job. So 60 is probably $60, like a flat fee, right? Just for using our service, we're going to charge you $50. And then come in the number of workers and the hours that they work, right? So 12 also has to do with money because this whole thing is about the price. So $12, it's going to be $12. So now let's look at the answer choices and see what they give us. Remember, I always like to look at the answer choices so I can eliminate early on. Okay, anything that doesn't have to do with $12 is out. A says $12 an hour, so we're going to leave it. I'm not even reading it carefully. B says 12 landscapers. That's not bucks, all right? So that's out. C says $12. We leave it in. And D says 12 hours. We take it out. So right away, with doing very little work, we got it down to A and C. That's a 50-50 shot. Now let's look at the difference. A says $12 an hour for each landscaper. And C says the price of every job increases by $12 an hour. But that doesn't really make sense. We're not talking about the amount that it increases. This is just to figure out the price of the job. A is the one that makes sense. C doesn't really work. But I will tell you that even if you got it down to A and C and then you weren't really sure, at that point you've got a 50-50 shot of getting it right. So you can feel fine just guessing. Even if you don't know, you got a pretty good shot of getting some points there. Okay, now let's go to section 4. Let's go to 35. Okay, so you can do the work here. So test 2, section 4, number 35. It gives us an equation. A equals 18T plus 15. And it says Jane made an initial deposit to a savings account. Each week thereafter, she deposited a fixed amount to the account. The equation above models the amount A in dollars, so this is money, that she has deposited, so money deposited, after T weekly deposits. So these are the weekly deposits, T. According to the model, how many dollars was Jane's initial visit? So this is another question where they're not asking us what does 18 mean or what does 15 mean, but they're asking us a question in English, and we have to figure out, is the answer 18 or 15? It's going to be one of those. Well, remember, the 15 is the standalone number or the initial, and again, this is money. So 15 is going to be dollars, and it's going to be the initial, what does it say? She makes an initial deposit. That's going to be the initial deposit, or what we know as the starting point. Okay, then that's our answer. If you just know, you see how easy it is? If you just understand what the standalone number means, like what is its significance, then you can get these questions very, very quickly. Okay, there's one more that I might be interested in. Let me just take a quick peek here. Yeah, maybe this is not a big problem. It's not on any test, it's just a concept. So there could be a kind of question where they give you a bunch of variables. This is an expression for, let's say, painting a room, and they give you N and capital L and K and P. And each one of these is something. So let's say N is the number of walls in the room, and L is the length of each wall. And let's say K is has to do with money. Let's say it's money per square foot, and then P is the height, let's just say, of the walls. Okay, this is off the top of my head. It's not a perfect example. There might be other variables to consider, but that's okay for now. And let's say the question is, which one of these variables are going to change if the customer decides they want a different color or a different kind of paint or whatever. And then you have to look at what is a constant, right? The number of walls, that's a constant. That's not going to change. The length of each wall, also, that's a constant. That's not going to change. And the height of the walls is also a constant. The only one that could change is K. So I've seen this type of question. Again, they always could ask varying questions, and they will vary according to the particular story that they make up in the problem. But if you understand the basic concept, you should be able to get these questions pretty easily. Okay, my friend, that's what I've got for you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.